And now it's time to descend back into side stories. So this time around we're going to start out with Ogden, because why not? His are usually fun and relatively quick to do. This one's actually packed full of a lot of cinematics, and just to be honest with you, all you really have to do is go out to the central sort of desert area that has all the floating rocks in it, and just follow the marker. Like if you travel to the watchtower in the Rococo Rocks area, you just kind of fly down to the closest shelf near it, and I'll show you in just a minute, because honestly getting this fight initiated is a little bit of a pain in the rear, but that's where you're going to go to find the Legiana, and you just kind of stand there and watch a couple cinematics pass, and then it'll pop up. It's one of the easiest ones to actually get to the right location. Basically, as soon as you spawn into the area, you just look at your mini-map and the marker's right there. You just turn around and fly towards that shelf. And that's all you got to do. You land on it, and quite a few cinematics will play. Well, not really quite a few, just a really long one will play out. And you'll find yourself looking at a Legiana flying around. Now, I'm not going to lie, for whatever reason, I just had a hard time actually hitting it. Part of that is because I forgot about the fact that you can fly up in the air, and as long as you're holding in the aim button or just not moving, you'll hover in place. So it'd been a lot easier to hit it if I had just gotten up in the air to begin with. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch, I think, like 5 minutes of me trying to hit it and then finally getting frustrated before I finally realized what to do. And we can jump straight ahead to the point where I hit it. Because you'll hit it, it'll fall to the ground, and then you kind of have to rush over to it so it doesn't recover and start flying again. Alright, so one thing I did notice, when you get a near miss, it'll usually cause it to hesitate. And then, there you go, one hit, and you just kind of jump straight down to it, run into it, and the fight starts. That said, this wasn't a particularly difficult fight. Well, it's not a particularly difficult fight once you break the wings. It's almost like a feral monster in the sense that once you break the appropriate part, it gets a lot easier. Now, you do need a bow for this to really have the easiest time with it. And of course a fire bow is going to be the best one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stop and add a little note in the subtitles for this, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to wait till now to mention to you that bringing a bow is not a bad idea. I don't know, you might be able to hit it with a gun lance, but I just was playing around and tested out a bow with it, and it worked out pretty well. I mean, its health is going down pretty easily anyway, but while it's flying, it does significantly more damage. As soon as you actually start working on those wings, they go down really quickly. This wasn't a hard fight. I thought it was pretty entertaining, but I'll let it play out and pick back up once it's done. And as you can see, the wings are almost already broken, so see you in a minute.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Let's do this.
Calm down.
Amazing! Yeah, thank you. Getting rough. Now's the time. chance. Eyes up. Okay. How about that? Oh, that teamwork.
And now it's time for rewards. So, this time around we're going to be getting active skill enhancements for 2 different active skills, and a pitfall trap recipe. Pretty good rewards for this particular quest. Next up on the list, we are going to go through Thea's story, get us another pig race out of the way. I just figured we would start with some of the easier ones. Just remember to switch your weapon back around if you swapped it out for the Legiana, and then take you the catavan to whatever your closest travel point is to the little yellow dot. For me, that's the one right near the dragon, colossal dragon's remains. And yet again, not very hard one to figure out where the target's at. It's just right there in the open, because the first thing you have to do is kill a monster to get it to where the pig will come back around, because we're working on the theory that you've scared the pig off somehow. So let's go kill what it wants us to kill. We'll jump to the next fight. So we've got to take down a Blood Orange Bishaten. And I give you a little tip. If you can knock the monster over with a breath attack, it's probably not going to be that big of a challenge. And this is just a standard Blood Orange Bishaten, so it's not like it's even a special one. It just so happens to be territorial enough that I guess it was scaring the Poogie off. So just go through, do the fight like normal, and it's an easy fight, easy win. These aren't terribly difficult just yet. You'll use technical attacks when it's in its normal phase, and speed attacks when it's in its enraged phase, and you'll be able to counter anything that actually lets you do a head-to-head to counter it. But it's not a particularly challenging fight. I'm not really even sure that it's all that different from a standard Bishaten. So, I mean, by that, the other blood orange ones that are floating around the area. So, take it out, move on, and get to the fun part of this quest. So, we're going to skip the fight, because really the fights in these are just kind of, I guess, to give you a cursory fight. Hers is all about the race. And after a little bit of dialogue, we get to go take on the Poogie in another race. Same rules as all the other ones, where you just need to hit as many of the red mushrooms as possible. And if you happen to see one, try to avoid the purple ones, and they do actually start popping up in this one. It's a little bit tight, and you do need to make this jump at the beginning, but you don't have to be perfect. It's one thing that we should have learned in the last one, or at least I learned in the last one. Unless you're in the second round and you're immensely behind, it will rubber band you up enough that you don't have to be perfect at all to win these. But the better you are, the more early on you'll actually get a little bit ahead, and it doesn't seem to rubber band the Poogie up to you quite as much as it does you up to it. Like, if you fall behind in the first go round, you're not going to be beyond hope. You just probably need to tighten it up a little bit. But it only took me 2 tries on this one. It's not terribly different than the last one. You can see I am going to win this race. I've not been executing it perfectly. Just execute it to the best of your abilities, and I'll meet back with you when we talk about the rewards. And as with the last one, you get boost to 2 active skills, and just the whole point of the 3rd chapter stories is to make your companions stronger and more useful overall. So, shouldn't be surprising at this point. And now it's time to move on to Eleanor. Yet again, it's a fetch quest. Go get 3 items. One of them's a little bit more entertaining to get than normal, but if you want the cliff notes on how to do her quests, use the tower to look around, find the spots they say there's where the thing is, then look at your map, and they'll be on your map. And then you just go to each of the 3 dots. and do the thing that's at the appropriate place. If it's just to pick up an item, you just run over there and pick up the item. Just be sure to pay attention to what they're saying so you know whether you need to hit it with a fireball or something. The Ajarakan will be just right out there in the open, and you'll be able to do it. So, and there's, I think, bones that we're supposed to pick up. So, we'll see. I'll mark them all specifically. So, we're going to jump past the map part, and we'll go do the actual pickup. And here you can see me pulling out the map, and you can see all three of them marked clear as day on the map itself. So, we'll go get the items before we do the actual monster fight. This one actually requires talking to a vendor, and he gives you poignant piquant. Now, I wish I could tell you all you gotta do is default to the fight earlier, and this would be the exact same thing, but corrupt footage, this is the first time you get to see me fighting a Ajarakan. It's not really all that different than the feral one that you had to fight for. Not feral. Or no, feral's correct. It's not all that different except for the fact that you don't have to hold back on which place that you're beating on him on. So, just go all out. And he'll go down pretty easily. He's not that hard of a fight. But you, on the plus side, you get some more materials to make some more Ajarakan weapons if you want. I always liked his stuff. I really like him in Wilds. I'm glad he's in here. At some point, I'll probably make one, but you'll see in the invasive species short why my team's kind of filling up pretty quickly, and he may not end up with a sort of starter slot, because I've got a pretty solid team put together, at least one that I actually enjoy. Honestly, my elemental diversity is not all that great. In normal mode, he uses technical attacks, so use power, and when he's overheated, he uses power, so swap to speed. Not a bad fight, just treat him like any other monster and you'll be fine. This is not meant to be a roadblock. But since you didn't get to see the feral one from before, I'll just let this play out, because like I said, the only difference is you have to let him get into a state where his back, or the crystals aren't having the dust everywhere to beat the feral version. So, I don't know, if you're watching this, you probably don't need help with the feral one. You probably already beat it. And if you beat it, you can beat this guy, because the feral one was significantly harder than this one, because at that point in the story you hadn't had a chance to really level your team up in the new zone just yet.
Watch out!
Keep it up! Ready? There!
Okay, top!
Eleanor!
Got it! Nice one! Nice teamwork!
Yeah.
And the last part, we're just going to end out warping to a catavan standpoint to get us a little bit closer. And you just pick it up off the ground. It's just sitting out on the ground. You don't really have to do anything other than that. I'll let the video play out, show me picking it up, and then once I pick it up, I'm just going to jump straight to the reward screen, because once you acquire the last item, you just do like in all of her other quests. You go back to the hub area for this area, and the story will pick back up from there, and you'll get your reward. And with that done, you get some enhanced skills and some more cooking notes that let you get a couple more recipes. So, time to move on to the next side story. And it's time to have some fun with Gaul again. And the first little bit's literally just walking around the town, so I'll pick back up with you when we actually leave town and go do something fun. Alright, so we're supposed to be helping with a cave in the dig site. To be honest with you, it took me almost an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize exactly where the cave was. And it took me a minute to realize where I was actually supposed to be. So let's jump to the point where I'm going into the entrance so I can show you where you need to go. In case you're unclear where I'm at, this is where you went to fight the Ajarakan earlier, but there's a little ramp that goes up on the right instead of going straight to come around to the bridge. You just go up, and there's a big ol' opening in the rock face right here, and that's the cave you need to go into. And you really don't have a whole lot of flexibility in terms of where you're going. You just kind of follow the markers. You literally can't get lost unless you're just like me and don't pay any attention to where you're going. I actually think what happened was I went up the ramp the first time around earlier and didn't see anything up there I could do, so I just didn't go up this time. Whenever this thing transforms, it uses speed attacks, so you can counter those with technical abilities and be fine. Just fight it like a normal monster. It's really not that hard. It fights a lot like a normal Nerscylla. So, you just go into the fight not really expecting that much of a challenge. But I'll let it play out anyway so you can see how it goes. It gets some good hits in, but honestly, if you spend even a little bit of time grinding, like, I'm trying to basically work my way through the game for the most part, kind of as quickly as possible, because it takes a little while to put all this stuff together and get it out. So, I'm not as overpowered as I could be. I would imagine if I spent some time actually grinding things out and maybe building up a bit wider variety of monsters to draw from, fights wouldn't be even remotely as hard, especially if I actually had a variety of weapons also to pull from. But if anything, that should show you can just kind of power your way through the game if you learn exactly how the combat system works and you use the appropriate moves at the appropriate time and just kind of push your way through a little bit, at least for the story. Some of the side content, that might not be quite as true. And yeah, these are labeled as side stories, but they very much intend for you to do them. That's why they pause everything else while you do them. If they weren't really meant to be able to be played at that point in the story, they wouldn't completely disable the main story while you do them. They wouldn't want to sort of soft lock your game if you just weren't prepared for it. Anyway, I'll pick back up with you when this fight's over.
Yes! Ready!
Calm down.
Take that! All right. Going all in! How's this?
Watch out!
I won't lose. Go! I'll give it my all!
You did it!
Right! Good one. You too, Captain.
And that's probably one of the simpler Gaul missions to get enhanced skills and a couple actually pretty useful recipes. Ancient potions, dust of life, all that sort of stuff are actually really handy to have around. So, we have one side story left, with that being Kora, and as per usual, it's going to end out with us exploring a cave where you follow the orange rocks to figure out your way into it. The hardest part generally of these is actually finding the cave entrance, and in my case, at least for the first one around, figuring out that I didn't actually have to fight all the monsters in it, and that you probably don't want. This one's actually not all that maze-like, and it has a little bit of a side story going on with it. It's just kind of deep, but we'll skip on forward to the fight at the end of this one because of that. It's just not quite as challenging as some of them have been in terms of seeing any sort of little tricks. Or at least by this point you should be so used to the verticality of things that it's not too terribly difficult to figure out your way around. Though it is worth mentioning, this wall is climbable. So you can just kind of leap the pit and actually climb up. And here in just a moment, you come across a rock that is breakable and actually gives you an air current. And it's useful to remember that this is a possibility for later, because those air current covering rocks become a little bit more common at a certain point in the story. And as usual, when you find the catavan stand, you know a fight's near. So save and jump to the fight. This fight's against a Shogun Centaur, which is actually not that bad of a fight. It is a little bit quirky in the sense that while there's still the skull shell there, it will do speed attacks, which means you'll need to use technical against it. No shell, it does technical, so you need to use power. And whenever it is in the seashell sort of shell, it'll use power, so you need to use speed. If it's the skull shell is when it's actually using speed attacks, by the way, so just pay attention to which type of shell it has, because when you smash the shell, it'll dig down in the ground at a certain point, pop back up, and have a new shell. It is still not a hard fight. If you have an electric monster with you, then you can hit it with some electric attacks and potentially paralyze it, and that really stops a lot of the attacks from it. But yeah, it's not a bad fight, so I'll be quiet, let this play out, and we'll discuss the last rewards and close out this section of the guide.
You okay?
Don't push yourself.
Keep going.
Watch out!
Nice one! Yes!
Now's your chance!
I'll give it my all! We showed them! Okay. I won!
Keep it up.
Watch out!
There!
Keep it up. Ready?
Kora, come on!
See what we can do.
All right!
Nice job.
That's done.
And as is expected at this point, you get 2 active skill enhances, but you also unlock the Azure Armor recipe, which is a nice looking set. So there's that. You get the Mega Barrel Bomb recipe as well, which can be quite useful, especially if you want to go farm some Fate Lines. So now back to the main story.